Welcome to this year's class of Creative Bravos Award winners, the faces and places that make a significant impact on the lives of Albuquerque area residents, neighborhoods, and communities. It all started in 1985 when the Arts Alliance held the first Bravos Awards with 30 artists and friends in attendance. Years later, under the direction of Creative Albuquerque, the Creative Bravos Awards continued the tradition, and the list of inductees grew. Basically, anyone or any service, organization, or event that played an integral role in establishing the unique depth and density of creativity in this community. The Cultural Services Department at the City of Albuquerque looks to build upon this legacy of excellence and impact by adding 10 awardees to this impressive list. They include art spaces, filmmakers, dancers, jewelry makers, studio owners, caregivers, marketers, painters, performers, and festivals. And they all have one thing in common. They touch us in a way that is more than cerebral. They invigorate and inspire us, each in their own creative way. And in doing so, they not only elevate the profile of the place many of us call home, but they raise our awareness and our spirits in the process. We want to introduce you to the 2019 Creative Bravos winners, and not only honor them for inspiring us, but honor them for transforming us and our city inside and out.
Hi, I'm Victoria Van Dame, and I'm the Executive Director for the OT Circus.
The OT in OT Circus stands for Occupational Therapy, and in the center ring is Victoria Van Dame, the occupational therapist who created it, a nonprofit focused on using various therapeutic means and creativity to build an inclusive community that brings people of all abilities together. I
always look at it as a functional component. What is it that they want to do, and how do they want to accomplish that? And that's what OTs do, is we're kind of I always say I'm the OT in the OT Circus because and then they go, what kind of art do you do? And I say, well, I'm a people artist.
The circus part of the name comes from, well, as Victoria puts it, occupational therapy is often like a circus with lots of different rings, helping people with disabilities accomplish everyday life tasks ranging from washing dishes to balancing a checkbook.
I call them performance components. They're what people can and can't do.
Victoria opened the OT Circus to create opportunities to showcase creative work and to create a safe, supportive space for creative and therapeutic activities to help with physical, cognitive, and social development.
So I got the idea, I was like, why isn't there a space for community members as well as people that have disabilities and different forms of artistry? Why isn't there a space for them to show their art and show their crafts and be able to buy and sell and support the community at the same time?
6 years later, she's being recognized for her efforts with the Creative Bravos Award.
I've been an occupational therapist for 17 years and being recognized for not just the circus, but everything, just the vision and just being able to be recognized for my vision is pretty cool. It's to the credit of the people that work for me and the people that are around me and my support system, my family, my kids.
It was her own hardship of having been married to a man that experienced a traumatic brain injury that not only spawned her interest in occupational therapy, but also gave her a new appreciation for those who need help and new resolve in tackling challenges head on.
I just see an obstacle and I just go up over it and around it, and I just make it happen.
The OT Circus. A lot of ringleading, a lot of juggling, a lot of care.
I know sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I keep all this straight, but I do.
The OT Circus creates spaces for the community to gather. It's a rare symbiotic dynamic that works to serve participants as well as observers. This dynamic is also at work in a unique theater program that received a Creative Bravos Award.
Hi, I'm Julie Hendren. So I'm the Executive Director of Trick Lock Company, and then I'm the curator of the Revolutions International Theater Festival. It's a 3-week performing arts festival that really has a focus on, it's sort of a cultural festival that has this kind of intimacy, this kind of inclusivity, and even kind of casualness. There's really not anything like it.
Performing artists from faraway places, making their way across the globe to Albuquerque, a place whose name many can barely pronounce, all seeking a unique experience.
It's about community, it's about connection, the sort of larger mission of what it's trying to do, which is really exposing all different kinds of cultures to all different kinds of people and getting a sense of the world like right in your own home.
Julie's incredibly proud the festival's won a Creative Bravos and humbled by the fact that she hasn't done it alone.
We have amazing volunteers, an incredible staff, and even the artists that we work with, if we're working with someone's manager or working with, the New York law firm that's trying desperately to help us get visas. I mean, there's really, you're still dealing with humans and humans who really want to make this happen.
Julie calls performing artists the heart of human civilization, connecting us all.
I mean, if artists were able to be everywhere, in every school, in every prison, in every hospital, it would make a profound impact on humanity, on the way that we connect with each other, on understanding.
Julie says she's merely the conduit to spread this cultural message. She says this is truly a festival of, by, and for the people.
I feel like that's the motto of our city a little bit, of like, we're a city that cares for each other and takes care of each other and watches out for each other. And so the festival feels like it kind of belongs to all of us. And so in a way, it's sort of by being recognized by the city, with Creative Bravos, it's, I don't know, I feel like it's an award for all of us.
And just like with Revolution's International Theater Festival, there's another Creative Bravos honoree that accepts the award on behalf of all the people who've helped develop their creative space.
My name is Robert Allen. I'm the Executive Director at OffCenter Community Arts Projects.
An inclusive open art space with a profound impact on the community.
Every day I see people come in here and it changes their life.
OffCenter Arts embodies a wide cross-section, enhancing the lives of those in our community who have been marginalized through art making and social interaction.
People who live on the street or homeless or are transitional. A lot of seniors come in here.
Robert says people can make art on their dining room tables, but coming to OffCenter keeps them from being isolated.
People come in here with all kinds of challenges in their lives. We all do. And what art does, it brings people together here, but it also gives them a focus. It gives them something to make with their own hands. There's something really powerful about that.
There are very few rules at OffCenter, and the materials are free of charge.
We have classes here, we have workshops, and we have exhibitions where you can be inspired.
OffCenter gives people permission to create and express themselves.
Here people have an opportunity to make stuff with their hands, to sing, make music, paint, do other things that reinforce their well-being, their self-reliance, things that are so important as far as creating a strong community.
And now, OffCenter is being recognized by the community it's called home for 18 years with a Creative Bravos Award.
It's all the people who've been involved here. They've all added a little bit to this art project called OffCenter. And they've all, added a little bit of their own color, their own shape, their own form, and they've built this incredible gift to the city of Albuquerque.
A gift that in return gives back so much to the people it serves.
Not only do they have a voice, but they also have their own personal purpose for being here, which is to make their life a little more colorful. Yeah, it's really special.
OffCenter is an open studio format, much like another studio that offers space to artists in our city to showcase and create pretty much whatever they want.
My name is Sherry Kreider, and I founded and run the Sanitary Tortilla Factory. It is a platform for community and artists in downtown Albuquerque.
Before Sherry Kreider got a hold of it, the Sanitary Tortilla Factory was a well-known restaurant in downtown Albuquerque that fed and supported local artists for 30 years.
That connection to history has really been important to my practice, whether it's in visual arts or creating this art center. Probably 90% of people you talk to that are over 40 have some connection to this restaurant. They've either eaten here, shown artwork here, or just met people.
With 15 art studios, exhibition, and fabrication areas, Sherry has created a studio practice dedicated to works at the intersection of personal experience, empathy, and equity.
We have a really nice range of people that have exhibited and people who have studios here, you know, from your 20s to your 70s.
Her background is a bit unusual for the path she's taken. She's a felon. She was once homeless, but Sherry says her experience gives her a different perspective on the world.
Many people in the neighborhood, you know, they want to get rid of homeless people. They feel that their businesses will be more prosperous if, you know, poverty isn't in your face. I like to challenge people to embrace those people and see what we can do as a community to, you know, make their lives better.
Sherry says being recognized with the Creative Bravos makes her feel incredibly privileged.
Receiving this honor, I think about like 10 other people that I know in this community that work as hard as I do, that, you know, I'll be able to nominate them because there are so many people doing so many good things, and we don't get to hear about it very much.
People close to Sherry know that she's not afraid to embrace a new idea.
If you're willing to put in the work and you create equity in what you do, you know, things usually come together and you're amazed.
Shared studio space for the creative community. It's a concept that not only works well for the Sanitary Tortilla Factory studios, but also for another art medium, jewelry making.
I'm Lauren Toby. I'm the owner and founder of Meltdown Studio.
Teaching people the art of jewelry making was something born out of necessity for Lauren Toby after graduating college with a bunch of new skills and no place to use them.
It was kind of that strange gap between college life and then adulthood where you don't really have what you need, so you have to kind of create that.
So she pieced together a small studio and then opened it up for other people to use.
I thought, well, if I'm experiencing this need, I'm sure other people are too.
Now, Lauren says Meltdown serves as a platform to encourage people to believe that they can do something they love and even make a living out of it.
It's not only okay to pursue a creative career, but it can also be rewarding, lucrative, empowering, and so many other things.
Today, Meltdown Studio is not only a jewelry making school, but a co-working studio. Lauren implemented a Benchmate program, which gives 20 local jewelers round-the-clock access for a monthly fee.
But as artists, we know that creativity strikes in the middle of the night or really early in the morning.
Lauren says it's been an exciting journey to watch how jewelry making has evolved since Meltdown opened its doors in 2006.
I learned the art of jewelry making in a really hands-on method. There was not really technology back then. There wasn't as much computer-aided design or social media or anything like that. So it really was the tools, your hands, your mind, whatever you could create.
Lauren says Meltdown being honored with the Creative Bravos makes it gratifying to meet new people and tell them she's an artist.
I love and am so passionate about the way that Albuquerque recognizes creativity and fields within that realm as so fundamental to our community. I think it's great.
Whether a total beginner or trying it out for the first time or an experienced artist seeking a profession, Lauren says people shouldn't have to go to extreme measures to find peace and creativity.
I really want to create a space where everyone is supportive and everyone feels like they could just come here and do what they need to do and make friends and feel excited about it.
For artists like Lauren, it's about creating a space that fits a person's lifestyle, both culturally and creatively, whether it's jewelry making or other forms of expression, like dance and song.
I'm Tripti Panikar. I'm the artistic director of Nautical Anjali Academy of Natya and Sangeeta. I'm a trained Indian classical dancer as well as an Indian classical vocalist.
Nautical Anjali Academy was started to help American-born Indian students better understand their deep-rooted culture. But what its creator found was that whether she was performing for the public or teaching students, the art form has its own unique language that reaches beyond traditional barriers.
It could be also once I'm done performing, they would come back to me and talk to me about, that was so strong, it was so powerful, I can feel it. And even those little words, those small conversations that I have with them, actually I feel I get more feedback as to how it actually impacted them.
Tripti says, artists create a spark that causes a chain reaction.
As artists, this is what we give to the community. Maybe that little spark will instigate something else in you, and you might go do something else or have a conversation, or maybe you know somebody else that can help.
Winning a Creative Bravos Award has been a very humbling experience. One Trupti says demonstrates an acceptance of Indian culture in Albuquerque.
I definitely feel that people are actually accepting it and welcoming it, and so yes, I'm very, very happy that it's been that way, and it's just a beautiful community too. It's not easy to say that, okay, come. Open your arms and say, come.
In addition to traditional Indian pieces, she also uses her art form to tackle present-day social issues and expose her students to the idea of dancing with a cause.
We had taken those themes, cases of rape, murder, social causes such as Me Too, and still did pieces with my traditional vocabulary. And those were accepted really well here in the community, and I was really happy that I was able to do that.
An academy that teaches East Indian music and dance in the desert, but has become so much more.
Nautical Anjali at this point is also sort of an ambassador of the Indian culture, as well as something that the world needs, which is dancing for a cause is what I like to call it.
For Trupti, it is both exhilarating and humbling to see how dance spawns growth and change in her students. It is an excitement shared by another Creative Bravos Award winner who also uses her art form as a catalyst for personal development and fulfillment.
I'm Rejeko Dumbuchena, and I am an African dance instructor at University of New Mexico and CNM.
Rejeko Dumbuchena says African dance translates well with the diverse population she teaches every semester, their different learning styles, backgrounds, and ages.
There's little that is common amongst us, but because African dance kind of speaks to their humanity right away, they're able to connect with it almost immediately.
She says African dance is a sort of meeting place where she feels like she gets back what she gives in ways that develop cultural awareness and understanding while developing self-awareness.
Students and people that experience African movement and music are somehow really fulfilled, maybe healed, maybe transformed, some would say. And I think that in my just being witness to that, it transfers to my fulfillment as an artist as well.
And she adds that there's an openness in New Mexico to embrace other cultures.
So it's not really about the individual anymore. I think it's definitely about the culture, the community in New Mexico that is very giving to African artists and supporting the classes and supporting the performances.
Rejeko says it is really special and humbling to her that she was awarded a Creative Bravos, especially since she feels that dance is sometimes the least recognized of the arts.
Often people will assume that it's just always fun, right? So it's not associated with the hard work that goes into it. And so to receive an award from the city, to have been nominated by my community and supported by my community it's an unbelievable gift to me.
For Rejeko, the work is its own reward.
That's what makes me confident in feeling like I am deserving, is the reflection that I see in myself in my students.
Part artist, part teacher. Like Rejeko, this next Creative Bravos recipient understands the value of passing on knowledge through his art form that transcends generations.
My name is John Acosta. I am a filmmaker, I am an educator, and I am an organizer. And the company that I founded, alongside my partner Frank Blasquez, is the Albuquerque Film Syndicate.
This first-generation Mexican-American says he faced a lot of adversity growing up in Albuquerque.
Seeing all those issues of drug abuse and friends, choosing different paths.
But now, John Acosta is taking those experiences from his youth and using them to mentor today's youth.
So that really opened my eyes and say, okay, I want to focus my work on impacted communities, specifically young people.
John teaches filmmaking to students at the Working Classroom in downtown Albuquerque, a nonprofit with the mission of cultivating the artistic, civic, and academic minds of youth.
I think we need more of these programs like Working Classroom because they provide that space to work with the front lines.
John encourages his students to find their voice and recognize their innate talents and passions while teaching them the valuable skills of storytelling.
I will channel that with young people and create these paths where they can become filmmakers.
John says he's a little overwhelmed his talents are being recognized with an honor such as a Creative Bravos Award.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does feel strange, just because, you know, growing up throughout my whole life, I've always been taught, like, be humble, you know, take your wins here and there, but you know your place.
A couple of years ago, John worked with a young still photographer to produce a series of YouTube videos called The Duke City Diaries.
So I feel really proud about that project because now he's creating his own videos, right? So there's that like mentorship opportunity that I was able to offer, and it makes me proud.
The videos captured the stories and hardships of people living in Albuquerque's International District.
It makes them more visible, and it makes them have more of a presence, right? And like a real presence, right? That story, like, it tells who they are, you know, the way they want it to be shown.
There's the art of telling meaningful stories, as John does, and then there is the art of selling good stories and finding ways to empower the storyteller. Our next Creative Bravos winner is all about getting the word out, literally.
I'm Amanda Sutton, and I'm an independent arts marketer and the events and marketing director at Bookworks.
Amanda Sutton took a leap of faith when she moved to Albuquerque a few years ago to assume the marketing duties at Bookworks, a longtime North Valley bookstore.
It's been a definite journey being in book publishing out in the middle of the desert when most of it is back east. But like I said, the community has just really always embraced my personal interests and enabled me to have the kind of career where I'm happy and excited to go to work every day.
She says in an age where many people order books online, it's something special to still have a local bookstore around after 35 years.
We have a lot of regulars who come in to see us daily. They bring their dogs. We're a dog-friendly bookstore. We're a family-friendly bookstore.
And then there's also the economic piece that Bookworks brings to the table.
To be able to sustain a business that pays its employees, pays taxes, contributes to the local creative and business economy, that's a really important thing.
Bookworks hosts some 400 events a year, 90% of those free to the public, and many aimed at children.
It was a really just a great reminder of how important books still are, and to see children being excited about books in that way, it really reminded me of why we do what we do.
On receiving a Creative Bravos Award from the city of Albuquerque, Amanda says it is yet another example of how much value and importance is put on the arts here.
Another way that Albuquerque is set apart from other places is that there is that appreciation and that recognition of artists and creative people that contribute to our economy and just the well-being of our lives here.
And another reminder that reading is power.
Whether it's a fictional story that we can all relate to a character and maybe his or her flaws or best attributes, or nonfiction where we're learning about something bigger than ourselves or in the world at large. I think books are definitely something that bring us power.
You might say Bookworks is a staple in the arts community in Albuquerque, a place that has carved out an important niche in the fabric of this city's identity. There are also people who exemplify that mainstay principle. People who've been here for a good long time, sharing their talent and their art with the rest of us, making us proud to call Albuquerque home.
My name is Frank McCullough, and I'm an artist and a teacher, an ex-teacher, you might say, and I've spent the greater part of my life working in art and producing my work and teaching.
Frank McCullough has been painting pretty much all his life, and that's a long time for the 91-year-old.
I was going to be an artist when I was 5 or 6 years old, I think. By the time I went to college, Sputnik had rolled around in the 50s, you know, and I kind of got seduced a little bit by science scholarships and things like that.
After teaching high school biology for a few years, Frank went right back to his passion teaching and producing art full-time.
You kind of come back to what you really want to do, you know.
Frank comes from a family that goes back 10 generations in New Mexico.
Some of them were were wagon masters on the Santa Fe Trail and all that. And a lot of that revolved around Las Vegas, which at that time was the center of the state.
In fact, it's out in the beauty of his home state where he's derived much of his inspiration as a landscape painter.
I used to love to draw horses and all that business, you know, and a lot of Western theme and landscape. Being from New Mexico and you know, raised here, and I think maybe New Mexico, it's in my blood.
And while these days he doesn't get out in the landscape as much as he'd like, it's still important to him to pick up a brush and paint.
Even if you're not doing it full time, the important thing is do it and keep your hand in it. Every painting I start is a mess. It's just a terrible painting, and you know. But I think that's kind of a good sign because you're dealing with something new already.
Frank says people know about Santa Fe and Taos when it comes to art, but he says the place he's called home for the past 70 years is a wonderful art center.
There's a lot goes on in Albuquerque, but in a way it's sort of under the surface. You don't know about it too much.
And this Creative Bravos Legacy Award winner is pretty happy where he's at.
Yeah. This feels wonderful.
We may not realize it in our everyday lives, but we are a community that is inextricably linked together by the people, places, and organizations around us that strive each day to bring a little more light into the lives of others. It might be a space designed to field and foster creativity, or a teacher imparting knowledge and sparking passion in students through dance, or music, or handiwork. It might be a storyteller who takes the time to make sure those stories that have helped shape and form and guide us don't fall by the wayside or on deaf ears. These faces and places capture the essence of who we are and the common ground we all share in our city. Their stories are our stories, taking their passion into their own hands and creating something they love, something we love. Teaching the arts, sharing a creative space, supporting each other. What we do for one in our community, we do for all.